Hello, I'm Jesper Eriksson. I do art and design.
Hi, I'm Albin. I'm the programmer.
And together we're Shatterplay Studio.
We're here to take part of the London Games Festival official selection.
And we are now gonna show you our game Unaki.
Let's roll.
So the elevator pitch for the game is that there is a third-person action adventure with an auto-chess twist. Which is that any item gets upgraded when you loot 3 of the same. This is like super rewarding and keeps you going to find just one more all the time. The game's items are also super powerful and makes for fun mix and match to explore different synergies and different play styles. So here we have the very first moments of the game where the player wakes up with amnesia. So you start the game as a stone statue, sort of. You can't move a thing. As you try to move, the stones crack. Until you're eventually broken free. You can see other stone statues around you and also some statue stands that are empty, hinting of previously awoken ones. The previous awoken ones have left scrolls behind them, hinting of how they're freaked out and trying to piece together what's going on. And here the player loots his first sword. It's a broken sword, dealing 5 damage. So the journey that you go on as a player through the game is that you wake up with amnesia on an island filled with monsters and adventurers, and things are strange on this island. Everyone is like full of questions and all seem to point towards this great treasure called Unaki. So here the player come across a glyph stone depicting objectives that the player should accomplish. So here the player acquires his first sword. A broken sword dealing 5 damage. And then he looks up at a glyph stone with objectives carved into its surface. As he completes an objective, it lit up, and when all are completed, he can claim a reward, which is a new ability. This time it is throw, and is needed to take him over to the next area. Here, the game teaches him to throw it at the pressure plate above the gate to open it up. And this is the general game loop that the game has. You come across a glyph stone, you solve the objectives, and acquire an ability that takes you to the next area. Here, the player acquired his second broken sword. Some armor, hitting some barrels, being unlucky with the loot. Here he acquired his second broken key as well. And watch here, he loots his third broken sword and they are combined into one basic sword, dealing 9 damage this time, and has a red socket so we can insert a red gem. Oh, he's lucky to find a red gem. This gem has a chance to deal bleed damage, so the player puts it into the broken sword.
He used the ability he just learned to quickly dispatch the boomer.
Here the player acquires 2 chest pieces and quickly finds a third one. The chest now combines into a higher tier. So any item can be upgraded upon looting 3 of the same, which makes it more powerful. This feels like a super rewarding power-up system that feels a bit like crafting. Then finally, upon killing the area's boss, you're rewarded with an ability that lets you explore further on the island, to discover new interconnecting paths between the areas and discover the island's dark truth, and get one step closer to Unaki. Here the player comes to another glyph stone, this time depicting a goblin's face, with the text "Slay him." The player now has to search for the goblin somewhere in the area, see if we can find him. By resting at the glyph stone, the player starts a new checkpoint. So if he is to die, he respawns at that checkpoint, and all the non-boss NPCs gets respawned. Now the player starts fighting against the area boss. It is a necromancer. He's unlucky. He sadly dies. He respawns at the glyph stone and can try again. The player jumps to avoid the cursed effect on the ground. Makes use for the throw ability. Loots the boss's head, but then dies just afterwards. Upon reading on the boss's head, it says offer to the glyph stone, so that's what the player do next. And is rewarded with a new ability that lets him explore further on the game. Unfortunately, he can't unlock the gate because he only has 2 broken keys. He needs to find a third one to be able to combine it to a basic key and get out. Here the player finds the third broken key, and it is combined into a basic key that you can open white treasure chests and white gates with.
We got magical gems that have abilities on them that changes the way that you play.
Like one ability can do so that if you slay an enemy with a combo strike, your max health is increased. So now we'll start playing the game and plan out so that you can finish off an enemy with a combo strike. Here the player finds an axe weapon. And the axe weapon has a different special ability than the sword. There's a whirlwind spin that hits all enemies that is in area. Whereas the sword is sort of a block, and if you time the block well, it acts like a parry that slows the time and deals a massive amount of damage. Here the player gets out of the fallen ruin and into a nice looking beach where he speaks with adventurers. They are telling him about their story, how they got there and what's going on. You learn about these vile creatures that exist somewhere in the area and that they have been stopping him from stopping them from progressing for the past couple of days. And they suggest him to gear up because these area bosses are very strong. And here the player checks out the beach area's glyph stone and notices the depiction of these area bosses onto it. And as you notice, these enemies out at the beach area are a lot stronger than the ones in the fallen ruin. A new gem was acquired that deals linked damage to whoever has the throw in him. So here, when the player attacks one of the goblins, a portion of that damage is linked to the other target. So you can deal like double damage for a percentage of that damage. And that's a great example of how a gem power can alter with the way that you play the game. Upon looting that gem, you will immediately start playing the game a bit different. And here we have a first sort of mini-boss fight that shows how these distinct enemies can work together. We have a healer, a sort of a tankier guy that rushes towards you, and smaller minions that is in your face. And the smaller guys, they don't have as much health as the bigger one, so you can try to figure out who you should focus on first. The player decided to take out the healers to go with at the start, to then take on the bigger fellow. And here he looted a wooden chest piece of tier 2 and decided to put on that. These different gears that we have, cloth and wood, they come with set bonuses. So that if you have 2 wood pieces, you do like 20% extra crit chance. And if you have cloth gear, 2 pieces of that, you gain I think it is 15% attack speed bonus. So you can mix and match different gear types to gain the set bonuses that you like. Here on the final session of this video, we are up against the beach area's area boss, which is a strong shaman.
The player prepares for the challenge.
Yes, equipping all the gems that he looted from the previous area. This shaman is trying to resurrect the other minions under him.
Yeah, he's kind of special. He's a support boss, kind of.
Yeah, you don't see that typically in games.
No.
That's it, we run out of time.
Thank you for watching.
And thank you, London Games Festival, for this amazing opportunity.
If you're interested and want to learn more, go to Steam and wishlist our game Unaki.
And now we're finally off to fight the sun.